Hello, everybody. I'm Roadblock, and we are on the free-to-play channel. Um, where do I want to start? Well, first, we are right on pace for a 4-key, 100 million damage on Nightmare in order to complete this mission, um, which will get us Arbiter, which will get us the points we need for the Champion Chase tournament. And that will get me the 3,000 points right here. So, right on pace for that. We just need to wait an hour and 12 minutes in order to save our gems, and then we'll be all set there. So, as far as the fusion goes, we're right on track. I did have to grind very late last night. And part of that was my own doing. So I was very nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get the points that I was very nervous that for the dungeon divers that all the points that I was going to generate, I had calculated how much energy I wanted to spend, and I generated enough points, but I was afraid that if I didn't click it, this event would go away first thing tomorrow. And I don't want that to happen, of course. So, I stayed up until 3 a.m. to make sure I got those fragments, because it wasn't worth it. So I had to grind in Dungeon Divers, and while I was doing that, I was playing my main account, and I was streaming. And it really took a toll on me, which caused my previous video to come out much later in the day, which I did upload a couple hours ago, I believe, at this point. Certainly at the point of this recording, or at the point that you're seeing this recording. But I then did what I wanted to do, because I delayed putting it out. I didn't put it out last night. I put it out today because I wanted to make a thumbnail for it, but I was too tired to concentrate and make a thumbnail. I couldn't keep my eyes open while I was sitting here getting all my dailies done in the game. So what I ended up doing was making a thumbnail about an hour and a half ago, and in it, I wanted to talk about the thumbnail, so I pulled a game changer. So let's talk about the game changer I pulled. Now, I'm very excited to make this video. If you've been following along on my free-to-play channel, if you're just an experienced raid player and you're on a new account, a free-to-play account, or a veteran, and you happened to pull shards, you may have pulled yourself a Coldheart. And I really wanted to talk about Coldheart because she was recently brought up in my clan by one of my clan members who is struggling to make Coldheart work. So I really wanted to talk about her because she can be a bit of a tricky character if you don't pay attention. She is, in fact, a game changer. I called her such on my account. I said, hey, I pulled a game changer. That's the title. That's the headline in the video. Give me 1 second. Oh, allergies are fun. So, let's talk about why she's a game changer. I feel like it's so easy when you go in and you're like, what's the best rare champion in the game? Oh, it's Coldheart. Oh, cool. Why? Well, she's really good. And I'm not saying that that's not a dig on anybody. That's not a knock on any other content creators. It just kind of feels like, and I'm guilty of that too. People in my own clan will be like, hey, who should I level up? I'm like, you have a Coldheart that's level 50. Like, what are you doing? Like, that needs to be a 6-star. You need to use that Coldheart. And some less experienced players may see Coldheart and say, well, she dies. She's super squishy. I can't keep her alive. So what do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to use this champion when she has such low HP? So if we do a quick comparison about her HP, So she's 13,710, and then her defense is 738. That's really low. Let's compare her to Gale real quick. So same amount of HP, but you'll see the defense is pretty different, right? The other thing, so I'm sorry, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So she is a squishy champion. That is kind of a factor with Coldheart. You do kind of want to have a bit of a support structure for her, but she is a very dominant champion in the game. I still use her on my main account from time to time, despite the fact that I now have 2 Newts and a Crizia. And you would probably think like, oh, why would she get used still? And so I just wanted to pull her up here. So first of all, she's a rare, which is great because it's very easy to get Ascension for her. So mine is 6-star Ascended. And I have mine in Reflex gear. Let's talk about why she's so good. Okay. So first things first, Heartseeker. This ability attacks one enemy, decreases the turn meter by 100%, and it has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Damage increases according to enemy max HP. There's a lot of words there. Like that's I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever read in Raid, but there's a lot there to peel back, right? First thing, decreases target's turn meter by 100%. A couple of things that you need to understand when you hear decreases target's turn meter by 100%. You're going to need accuracy, right? And she's taken the entirety of their turn meter. Now, some bosses in different areas of the game have a resistance to that turn meter reduction, but you need to understand that she is going to need accuracy and understand what it does. She manipulates turn meter. This is very valuable. So if you look at a boss's turn meter that slowly ticks up after all 5 of your champions go, when she goes, she shoots that back down to nothing or 50% in some cases with different bosses. The other really important part of this has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Well, what does that mean? A champion needs to have 100% critical hit. What is it? What do they actually call it? Crit rate. 100% crit rate. She gets a free 30% crit rate. That's the best way of thinking about it on this ability, which means you only have to build her to 70% crit rate. How does that make her... How does that affect her build? Well, that means that you can build her very easily in crit damage gloves and make up the crit rate throughout the rest of the kit in a easier fashion. One of the big drawbacks that you tend to face when dealing with building out a nuker is that when you use crit damage gloves, you have a harder time of getting the crit rate that you need, because you need to get 100% crit rate, and you have 6 pieces to do that. That can be a challenge, if and that's what makes crit rate gear valuable in some cases, right? In some instances. With her, you only have to go to 70, so that gives you more room for accuracy, which you need, and it gives you more room for crit damage, which is why crit damage gloves are so much easier to use on her. And then the last thing about the ability, the most important part, damage increases according to enemy max HP. Now, it does take some extra bonus from attack, but the big part of the damage is going to come based on how much HP the enemy has. So the more HP an enemy has, the more damage that she will do. She will do a big chunk of damage to a boss. It really makes her a bit of a boss killer because you're reducing that turn meter and you're doing massive amounts of damage to the boss, speeding up the fight, which will, so when you take their turn meter down, you're reducing their mechanics that they can use against you. And when you're taking their health down, you're reducing the length of the fight and giving them fewer opportunities to use those mechanics against you. A great example that I would like to demonstrate, and I demonstrated this on my stream a bit, is in Dark Fae. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this team. This is my Dark Fae team. It's not full auto. I do have to manual one thing at the end, but I'm going to get this going to kind of show you, and I'm hoping it will work, that she tends to die on this particular team sometimes if things don't go the way that I exactly the way that I want. But did you see how much damage she did right there and decreased the turn meter? Now, it's a minion, or it's a wave, it's and she's not exactly great wave clearing character, anything like that. But please understand what enemy max HP damage is capable of. And the turn meter reduction. That's what makes her so good here in Dark Fae, at least for me and this team that I'm going with, because she can reduce the turn meter of the Dark Fae and prevent her from stealing my team again. If you've never done the Dark Fae, she starts by stealing my team. So I come in here and I burn them down. I decrease the turn meter of my Arbiter, and then I nuke them all down. And now it's just a fight against her. Now you'll see she did a big chunk of damage and decreased her turn meter. Now, in this particular case, Dark Fae has the ability to... Oh, there we go. Heartseeker got refreshed because of the kit that she's in. But Dark Fae, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but Dark Fae will steal your team, steal your individual champions sometimes. So you really want to have enemy max HP damage. That's what Newt brings, as well as turn meter control. So, Newt is kind of a better version of Coldheart in many ways, but Coldheart, right, I don't think she's going to get her cooldown again in this fight, but we'll see. It is on a bit of a long cooldown, even when booked. And, of course, she's probably... There it is, Heartseeker again. So, decreased that turn meter and did a ton of damage. So, that's the value of her A3. And then I'm going to let this finish out. So, since it worked. It's because, like I said, this isn't a perfect team, but it is the most effective team that I have. So, there we go. Dark Fae is dead. So that is kind of what she's capable of doing for you, is she's capable of controlling bosses and doing a lot of damage to them on the same ability. But that's not all. Now, if we talk about her A2, attacks all enemies, has a 30% chance of placing decreased accuracy, and the big version of poison for 2 turns, but only if the target is under a heal reduction debuff. Now, in most cases, honestly, you're turning this off. At least I do. This doesn't really bring any added damage in most cases. The poison probably won't land because you're probably going Heartseeker into the AI is probably going Heartseeker into Art of Pain, so no one's going to be under a heal reduction, so that doesn't really do much. So most of the time you're turning it off, but it is an AoE, and you can get a little extra wave damage out of it if necessary. But yeah, generally you kind of want that turned off. But her A1 is really good as well. I think people sleep on the A1 a little bit because they're so fixated on her boss killing potential. But let's talk about the A1. So she attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So where's heal reduction good? Well, Fire Knight, right? What else is good on Fire Knight? Multi-hitters. Oh, she happens to do a 4 times hitter. That's not that common in this game. At least Not in my experience. I mean, even someone that hits a bunch like Rhonda and Newt, they're 3 times hitters. A 4 times hitter is kind of rare. I know there are others out there, but this is just one of the ones that it's a big deal. And in fact, on my Fire Night Hard team, Coldheart is on that team, even though she can't control the turn meter, which on regular Fire Night, she is good because she does bring the heal reduction. So if he gets a turn, and we'll, that's a video for another time about how to handle Fire Night, but by using her A1, she can bring the shield down, and then using her A2, she then controls the turn meter, and in conjunction with another champion, something along the lines of an Allure or Armiger or Fenchi, someone who can help reduce that turn meter. She will take a big chunk of it and give those guys that do a little, the 15%, the 10%, what have you. She'll take a big chunk down, and then they'll come in, and as it's building up, it builds up slower because they're whittling it down, and then she chunks it down again. And then if, for whatever reason, he does get a turn, she can pop that shield down again with a quad hitter very easily. So that's her kit. That's the value of Coldheart. Quad hitter. The heal reduction is less usable other than like maybe Fire Knight or some other types of bosses. And then boss killing potential, right? Big boss killing. And quite frankly, if we go back to my free-to-play account, I don't have any enemy max HP damage healers, or at least I don't think I do. We've pulled a lot of champions in the last couple of days. So, yeah. No, that's destroy. I wonder if there is a... No. Alright, I guess there isn't a way for me to check, but I don't really have anybody that does enemy max HP. Well, I had Husk. I never really used him because his multiplier is a little weaker than some others, and he brought less to the table. I'm not a big Husk fan. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's bad. It's just not a champion that I have that I like to use, quite frankly. So, but, and feel free to come at me in the comments and tell me how I'm sleeping on Husk, but Husk on my main account has always let me down, and so he never ended up getting built. Am I going crazy? Oh yeah, she's down here. Okay. So that's her kit. Now let's talk about the squishiness. Well, it's really important to understand her kit. Right out the gate, she does damage. She has the 70% crit rate, right? You only need to get her to 70% crit rate. So that allows you a little bit more flexibility in her build. You also need to have her in with accuracy. So you're going to want to have an accuracy banner if you have it. And you want crit damage on her because she's a nuker, right? She's a boss killer. And you want as much crit damage on that enemy max HP hit as you can get. So you're going to want crit damage on the amulet. But what do you want on the chest? You know, you would assume her damage is based on attack, except for this one item. So maybe you probably want to attack, right? But she's squishy, right? That's kind of the trick that I see a lot of people do. They say, well, she's an attack-based champion. I'm going to put her in an attack percent chest and use an attack ring on her. And she melts. You know, they're going attack percent and crit rate and crit damage on everything. And she's just going to get destroyed because she has no defense. She has no HP. Don't be afraid to put her in a build that is a little bit more tanky. So if we come back to my main account and we go look at my Coldheart, I've got her in an HP percent chest. And I think her ring is HP ring with HP percent and defense percent substats. And I mean, she's got an old school crit damage amulet. Like I could upgrade that. I'm pretty sure I've got a better crit damage amulet. Yeah, all of these are crit damage. So I need to upgrade that. Well, it did get a pretty good roll. That's pretty cool to get the crit damage on it there. But yeah. So don't be afraid to build her with HP or defensive stats. Now she's gonna have a high accuracy requirement because you're using her to go up against bosses. They're gonna have high resistance. Now I've talked about this before, but Raid Stages tool is an amazing tool that's on the Hell Hades site. I use this thing probably once a week, if not more, where I can come in and say, okay, well, I want her to do damage to in the dungeons, right? I want her to do, let's say, Spider's Den. Well, how much do I need to control Spider on stage 20? So for the big Spider, I need to have her resistance is 200. I need 225 accuracy. That can be hard to hit. It can. Let's close this. Yep. So you'll see I have her in a perception set. So I'm getting 40 accuracy and 5% speed. Now, my main account, is way more evolved. So I'm able to put her in a reflex set. And if you don't know what reflex does, it has a 40% chance to reduce a random skill cooldown. If you turn this off, then it can reduce the cooldown on Heartseeker, and I'll have that up way more often because it is on a 4-turn cooldown. That's going to help me burn bosses quicker. So the other thing you could do too is if you have them, which not everyone does, but I don't think I have any right here, but reflex accessories, if you have them. I know I have some on my Acrisia, for example, but those will help you with reducing that cooldown as well. So, but she is amazing, and I called her a game changer. Why is she a game changer? Well, because she's good in almost every dungeon. I think the only dungeon I wouldn't use her in is Ice Golem, and while she does bring turn meter, which you want for Ice Golem, you're also going to chunk his damage, his health down, which is going to cause him to do his counterattack mechanic quite a bit. But even on Dragon, you wouldn't think she's great, but she's chunking his HP down. She can't control the turn meter, but taking that HP pool down is really valuable. On this particular account, she probably would be less valuable in Dragon because I've got like Geomancer and other ways that I would kill Dragon. But for Fire Knight and Spider, she's bringing that turn meter control that I want on Spider, as well as a big hitting chunk of damage. And then again on Fire Knight, she's bringing the multi-hitter and the turn meter control. I mean, she's just such a great champion. But I think a lot of people, no one's gonna sit there and say Coldheart is bad. In fact, almost everybody I've ever seen says Coldheart is the best rare in the game, the entire game. Better than Kale, better than Bellower, just because I just happen to see him right there. I mean, she is amazing in this game, and you'll see like even not pro, but even guys that have been playing the game for 5 years still have like 1 or 2 Coldhearts built, and they're constantly using her because she's just that good. I mean, you can really shut down a Fire Knight with a couple of Cold Hearts, and likewise against Spider. It's just she's really really solid. So um, if you're struggling with her, keep those things in mind. She only needs 70% crit rate. Are her other abilities going to get critical hits? No, but that you're not looking. That's you're not. If you turned off these two abilities, you're not doing any. You're not doing enough damage with the A1. If you turn off the A3, you're not doing enough damage with the A2, right? Like you're not getting that output that she can do with this ability. This is Coldheart right here in a nutshell. This is what you're looking for. So you want to build with that in mind. And because while this damage does gain a bonus based on attack, it's mostly coming from enemy max HP. So you don't necessarily need to have her in attack stats. You can build her in tankier sets. You can build her for accuracy. You can build her uh, different. You could build her with HP as the main stat on certain items, right? Because that's what you're looking to get out of her, is the big hits and the damage and the turn meter reduction. So I hope that helps you guys with your Cold Hearts that you may or may not have pulled within the last couple of days during the 2x event. I don't think I've rambled on long enough to get my last Demon Lord key in and pull Arbiter, but I am probably going to do that tonight off camera, as much as I hate to say it, just because it needs to happen. But you guys will see the update on that tomorrow. And now I have some real projects. I was saying, like, I didn't really know who I wanted to do next. I've been working on Lady Annabelle, but I wasn't sure about, which legendary I wanted to go. Well, now I have a legendary in disguise, and then I have Arbiter right on her coattails. So, and then hopefully once I have her built, I'll be able to show you her value and show you how even a free-to-play account can build her effectively and get that use out of her. So, well, I'm not sure how long this video went. I do apologize if it ended up being a long one. No, we're right on time, so not too bad. Thank you guys, as always, for all of the support. We are at 913 subscribers. I mean, wow. I remember just a couple weeks ago when we were like in the 800s and it felt like we were just stagnant there. I really thought, like, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to get, like, if there's subscribers are slowing down, am I going to make it? I don't know. And now here we are, 913. We are so close to that 1,000 mark. So if you're new to the channel, if you're, came here because you were looking for information about Coldheart and what makes her good, I love to release videos like this. If you have any videos you'd like me to release, if you have any questions about anything, if you have any comments about anything, let me know in the comments, and I usually will respond to that and get a new, more updated video out there and kind of filling in those gaps. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, if I can find the right thing to close.